Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestle News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. This is going to be really tough. This is going to be really difficult. This is going to be very challenging. Obviously, we're going to be doing a watch along of SmackDown this evening. We're going to be, I think, the reason I wanted to do this this evening, obviously, we don't usually do watch alongs for SmackDown or anything like that, but given the circumstances, given everything that's been going on and happening regarding obviously Bray Wyatt and all this kind of stuff, Terry Funk as well. I thought, it'd be a good place to come together. I think it'd be a good place to come together, try and get through it together because it's going to be a difficult watch. I'm not sure how well I'll be able to do a play-by-play of things that are going on tonight. There's going to be a lot of pauses and a lot of breaks and a lot of silence, unfortunately, and I apologize ahead of time when it comes to that, but I felt that, again, it was important. I felt that it was important that we come together, we celebrate as much as we commiserate and share our condolences with the family, the friends, the loved ones of both Bray Wyatt and Terry Funk. It's important to celebrate the life as well and celebrate the accomplishments and celebrate everyone that's been affected, celebrate everyone that's been influenced by Bray Wyatt, by Terry Funk, by everything that's happened this week, and that's why I wanted to do this tonight. So if you are just coming through the door, get involved in the chat, let people know your thoughts, send some well wishes because some people might need it. I'm a couple of minutes late as well because what I've been doing in preparation for this too is we've got some videos of things that have been posted on social media, so we can use them. There are going to be some people that wouldn't usually be on SmackDown there tonight. Some people who knew Bray Wyatt very well aren't going to be there, one of which is Seth Rollins. So here's what Seth Rollins had to say. He posted the following to social media.
Truth is, I still don't really know what to say. Windham was a unique cat. He was simple yet deeply complex individual, and I loved him. I loved working with him, but mostly I just loved being around him. He was always joyful, just these eyes that drew you in, and a smile and a laugh and a presence that just made you happy. And we're all going to miss that. I've been thinking mostly about his family. His kids. And I wanted to go, I don't know, wanted was the right word. I thought about going to SmackDown tonight, but that would entail leaving my family a day early. And I just keep going back to the conversation I had with Windham on the phone when Brody passed a few years ago. And I just had called him to check on him, to see how he was doing. And he we talked, and he was okay, and I was okay, and neither of us were really okay. But I just remember him, we ended the conversation with "I love yous" and goodbyes, and he said, I remember this very specifically. He said, "You just go hug on that baby girl," talking about my daughter. And so I just feel like that's what I should be doing. So, Windham, love you, man. I will miss you. We will all miss you. And I'll see you down the road, hot boy.
It's just heartbreaking. Yeah, it's absolutely heartbreaking to watch, to listen to. As I mentioned previously, I still can't believe that this is making the graphics and preparing and getting these videos together. And again, I'm floored. I'm absolutely stunned, and I'm saddened. And as Seth Rollins points out, I can't stop thinking about his family. I mean, there's pictures of him with JoJo, his fiance. They were planning to get married later on this year. I think at the end of this year. They've got 2 young children together. He had 2 girls from a previous marriage. They're still very young as well. And he was just 36. I mean, truly and truly, his whole life was ahead of him. And it's just such a tragic and sad situation. It truly is. And as Rollins points out, I think it's a fair comparison to think about Brody Lee, because it reminds me of that. Just under 3 years ago, December of 2020, just coming out of nowhere, been away from TV for a while, and then you got the news, and it was just horrible, absolutely horrible. I do want to get in another video before the show starts. Another person who's not going to be there, along with Seth Rollins this evening, is Alexa Bliss. Of course, she's currently on maternity leave. She tried to be there. She couldn't make it due to flight issues, so she posted the following video on social media.
Hi everyone. Before tonight's episode of SmackDown, I just wanted to come on here and say a few words. I was planning on attending tonight's SmackDown, but unfortunately with the last minute flight options, it wasn't really possible to get me there in time before the show ended. So I wanted to come on here and just talk about Windham a little bit and what tonight means. And first, I wanted to say, I'm sending out so much love and thoughts to Windham's entire family. We are all here for you, and we are so sorry for your loss. I know tonight's SmackDown is going to be a celebration of Windham and the Bray Wyatt character and everything Windham has done in his life and career in WWE. So I'm going to try to keep this as positive as I can. Windham is an incredible person who we have all loved for years, and he is just so friendly and lights up a room and is so creative. He's a creative genius who brought us all the amazing gift of Bray Wyatt for the last so many years. And I think the character Bray Wyatt that Windham has given us has been incredible and has been so fascinating to see and has brought us all so much joy to watch. And, working with Windham was just it was magic. It was magic because being able to watch him in his creative element and be able to work with him really, expanded my creativity, and being able to just watch him work and work beside him was just truly, truly an honor. And I still say to this day, was the most fun I've ever had in my entire career in WWE. And I am so thankful that he allowed me and trusted me to come in and be a small part of his vision and his creativity. And unfortunately now there is a huge void in our world and in the WWE universe that no one will ever be able to fill, because Windham was so special. And everything he brought to us was so special, and I think we should all be so grateful for that. His creative genius of the Wyatt family and the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse has really opened up all of our minds and opened our eyes to a whole nother world in our industry that none of us could have ever thought imaginable. And I just want to say, Windham, you know, you've brought so much joy to everyone around you and to the millions who've loved watching you week after week and loved watching your journey and just see your creative genius unfold. We will continue to celebrate your life, your legacy, and the amazing human you are, and we will continue to light up the sky with fireflies. And we all love you, Windham.
I mean, it's like I said, guys, this is going to be a really difficult watch this evening. Again, I can't promise it's going to be the most dynamic watch along or anything like that. I can't promise a lot of play-by-play or anything like that. There will be, like is the case with a lot of these tribute shows, there'll be matches. From my understanding, from what I've seen online, the show is going to start with a tribute to Bray Wyatt. I would assume that that's most likely a 10-bow salute. I would assume that's the superstars out on the stage. I would assume that's a video package. Again, I don't know what the show is going to look like in terms of packages or anything like that. It's just going to be gutting. This to me reminds me, it took me back to, as mentioned, Brody Lee in December of 2020, but it also took me back to Eddie Guerrero in November of 2005, of just being something that, a complete gut punch, something so shocking, so upsetting, so sad, and something that just feels wrong, absolutely horrible and wrong, and it's going to be tough. So we're all in this together, guys. It's okay to be upset. It's okay to be shedding a tear, and it's okay to be celebrating the life as the cold open is just beginning on this show. And like I said, I'll do my best to guide you through it if you're not watching, or if you just want to hear a familiar voice in a tough time. If this is a message to maybe pick up the phone, call somebody, send a message, tell them you love them. I don't know what is. So yeah, it's very sad, and it's very, very upsetting as we get two in memory of graphics, one for Terry Funk on the left, one of Windham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt on the right. Two icons, one a Hall of Famer and the other certainly a future Hall of Famer, and the WWE talent are out on the stage. There's Rob Fee there, Corey Graves, Scarlett, Grayson Waller, Karrion Kross, Dakota Kai. The Fireflies are out because, of course, they're out behind me. They're out everywhere, and Michael Cole welcomes us to SmackDown. He's explaining what's going on, so apologies with the pause. Eric Rowan's on stage with Triple H, Paul Levesque, Braun Strowman's there as well, alongside Cody Rhodes. This is going to be a SmackDown that's celebrating the lives of both Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. Eric Rowan and Braun Strowman, of course, the two remaining members of the Wyatt family. There will now be a 10-bow salute and a moment of silence. The 10-bow salute has been completed, as we are now playing a video package reflecting on the life, the career of the Anomaly, the Enigma, That was Bray Wyatt, as he's got the whole world in his hand plays. Once again, apologies. This is going to be me focusing on this. Man, already this is just so desperately sad. 36 years of age. And just looking at the early career of him, the first inclinations of the Bray Wyatt character in FCW and then NXT, and the addition of Luke Harper and Eric Rowan and eventually Braun Strowman. I was thinking this, and you can see it on the screen right now, just the different versions, the different faces of Wyatt. It's just incredible. I mean, you've got the version that came back in 2022, you've got the WWE champion, you've got the Eater of Worlds, you've got the original leader of the Wyatt family, you've got the Fiend, you've got the Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt as well. You've got everything. I mean, I get the ability to reinvent. I mean, let alone, do we need to say like Husky Harris or anything like that? The creativity was boundless and limitless, as we're just seeing clips of the Firefly Funhouse. I mean, I think because of what happened with the Fiend and maybe the mismanagement of the booking of it, people just forget. In 2019, when the Fiend first emerged, or even the Firefly Funhouse version of Bray Wyatt first emerged, post WrestleMania 35, people were floored and staggered. They hadn't seen anything like this. They hadn't. And it was the best part of a dull Raw. Remember, at the end of 2018, that's when Vince McMahon and Triple H and Shane McMahon and Stephanie McMahon give it the whole "You're the authority" speech, and Raw was so bad. And I remember at that time, one of the only things I liked on Raw was the Firefly Funhouse segments. And then suddenly, we saw the Fiend emerge. We can see Bray Wyatt winning the WWE Championship at Elimination Chamber in 2017. A run that for me was cut short. A fantastic storyline with him, Randy Orton, and Luke Harper. The only travesty of that is that Luke Harper wasn't involved in the WrestleMania match. He should have been. The late Brody Lee. And then Bray Wyatt in 2019, after reinventing himself, coming back, he's the Universal Champion. He's the Fiend. He got his own custom championship. And it's for me, it's, I mean, I'm holding back emotions just thinking about this. But that, and there's this kid there as well. And again, that's the saddest thing for me. That's the thing that gets me involved in all of this. And if I would recommend, guys, if you haven't already, and you want to somehow help and you want to contribute to Bray Wyatt's family or support his family or his children, any merchandise that's purchased off WWEshop.com, all of the net proceeds are going to Bray Wyatt's family, which is up significantly from what it usually would be. So that's a way to help Bray Wyatt's family. And like I said, it's so desperately sad and surreal. I cannot believe we are here just discussing this or watching this. I can't believe that I've just watched a Bray Wyatt in memoriam promo package to start an episode of SmackDown. And just a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about creative for him to come back. And I can't believe it, honestly. I really can't. As the crowd chants, "Thank you, Bray." And thank you indeed. There's tears are flowing. And the crowd's singing, "He's got the whole world in his hands." And truly he did. He didn't have the whole world in his hands. He had the WWE Universe in the palm of it. Oh man, and there's his rocking chair. The Bray Wyatt rocking chair with the spotlight on it. But it's empty and no one can fill it anymore. As we fade to commercial. Well, that was, again, whew, I said it was going to be difficult. I said it was going to be challenging, and just 7 minutes into the show, difficult is an understatement. This is why I kind of had some of these videos prepared, because I knew this was going to be really tough for me. So while I compose myself, guys, let's see what Chris Jericho said. Chris Jericho was playing a concert with Fozzie's over here in the UK. He spoke about his relationship with Windham Rotunda.
In the pro wrestling world, we lost a great brother last night. I know him as Bray. I know him as Windham. A fucking great guy. One of the most creative minds I ever had the pleasure to work with, and I worked with him all over the world. I think we even worked here. If not in London, we worked in the UK, everywhere else. You guys can sing. So thanks to Windham, thanks to you guys for remembering him, and we dedicate this show tonight, and I dedicate this show on Sunday to the memory of the late great Windham Rotunda.
Chris Jericho with some lovely words there for Windham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt. We're just currently on a commercial break at the moment. The show started off, if you are just joining us or you've just come from watching it on Fox or however you watch it around the world, obviously the show started off with a 10-bow salute for not only Windham Rotunda. I think it's important to emphasize as well, it's a joint tribute show. Obviously, the Bray Wyatt news is maybe a bit more staggering because Terry Funk had his health issues for the last few years, and you never expect it or anything like that. But you know, it was incredibly sad news regarding Terry Funk's passing. But that's just hit me like a ton of bricks, and I'm glad that I've got those videos to kind of compose myself, because again, seeing the pictures and images of his children, you just kind of you obviously, and this is the thing, but I don't think people understand with wrestling fans, isn't it? Is we watch these characters every week, and sometimes we believe the characters are the real people, but when you see the images of his children or him brushing his daughter's hair or something like that, you realize this is a person. This is a father. This is a husband. This is a brother. This is a son, and it's much bigger than a character. It's much bigger than a gimmick, and it's horrible. It's reality. And as I mentioned, he's still even in death has the whole world in his hands, right in the palm of it, and it's a horrible, tragic situation. We're back from commercial. Again, I'm not sure where we're going to be going with matches or anything like that. With it, we're just getting a promo package now for Terry Funk. Obviously, as I mentioned, he passed away at the age of 79. Icon, absolute icon, Terry Funk, no doubt about it. One of, if not the greatest wrestler of all time. I think I was chatting to someone about this the other day when it came to Terry Funk, and that I think in terms of like casual people that might not know pro wrestling that well, you say Terry Funk, they'll go, who? But for me, Terry Funk, he's up there with Ric Flair, or he's up there with the icons of pro wrestling that everyone knows. Your Hulk Hogan's, your Undertakers, your Randy Savages, your whoever it may be. He's in John Cena. He's in that category because he could do everything, and he passed so many generations. Michael Cole's just saying that Cody Rhodes is going to be here to honor Terry Funk. Of course, Dusty Rhodes and Terry Funk, legendary rivalry as well. Michael Cole talking about how both just wanted to entertain the WWE universe, the fans, and in honor of them, they are here to entertain. And here comes Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is going to kick off the match. The matches for tonight's show, and we're going to see what happens. I mean, I believe we're going to be getting Rey Mysterio versus Grayson Waller, I think. Yeah, I think sometimes the wrestling's almost needed, isn't it, to kind of decompress and kind of pull yourself away, because man, even that, to be honest, that opening with them all on stage was even harder than I thought it was going to be, to be honest with you. I was that far away. I really, really was. Which is, it's fine. And this is what I was saying before as well, is that there's nothing wrong with that. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're doing this, is because it's good to have company. It's good to have like-minded people. It's good to have community around you. And yeah, it's really tough. I'll see what you guys are saying in the chat. If you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't too. It's going to be a busy weekend as well. Obviously, it's All In. One of the biggest pro wrestling events of all time is taking place on Sunday as well. So we'll be covering that. We're doing post shows and watch alongs for that as well. Rey Mysterio's got a Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt armband on. It's just what is also as well so sad about all of this is, again, this is such a double gut punch as well. I mean, we're celebrating the life of two lost, legends, icons. It really is. Cab says Alexa Bliss was so close to him. Ed says, and I did see this as well on social media, apparently when Vince wrote Husky off TV and sent him back to developmental, he waited to speak to Vince after the show and told him something like, "I'll be back, this won't be the last time you see me," and my goodness me, it was not. The fact that Bray Wyatt was able to reinvent and recover and come back on so many different occasions is incredible. Again, he's a genius, absolute genius. And I know that people... and here comes Grayson Waller. I know some people would say that Bray Wyatt or The Fiend or the Firefly Funhouse or the Wyatt family wasn't their cup of tea. It was hokey, it was cinematic wrestling, it was gaga pro wrestling. And that's fine. But I think even the naysayers and even the doubters, even the people that didn't like Bray Wyatt would 100% say that he was talented, 100% would say he was magnetic and he could cut a promo. And yeah, I think that's what Bray Wyatt was. He was unique. He was different, and it does feel like I want to payback. We're getting the Grayson Waller effect. We're getting Grayson Waller effect with special guest Cody Rhodes. What is Cody Rhodes' story now? Really, coming out of SummerSlam, he's no longer feuding with Brock. He's not going after the World Heavyweight title because that's Shinsuke Nakamura, and I think Nakamura should win that match, by the way. So Cody Rhodes is kind of a man without a story at the moment, unless the story is, I'm going to finish the story, maybe. Is that what he's going to do? Collar and elbow type to start this one out. Grayson Waller throws Rey Mysterio down into the corner. Ed says, most of the people I know who watch wrestling in the 70s and 80s puts Terry on their Mount Rushmore. That's the thing. And again, I think people forget that with Terry Funk. I think people just think of Terry Funk in ECW or WWE in the late 90s during the Attitude Era boom, the Monday Night Wars boom. Terry Funk's an NWA Wars Heavyweight Champion in 1974, I believe it was. He was champion for, I think, 14 months. One of the best wrestlers in the world. He could do everything. Absolutely everything. And that's part of it too. We're only 28 likes away from 100, which would be amazing, by the way. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Ed says, Cody versus Judgment Day, it looks like. That's true. It probably does look like that. Although, it's kind of strange, isn't it, though? Because Judgment Day is still technically in a feud with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, I think, maybe. Although JD McDonough is involved in that now. So maybe that's what they do. Maybe that's the development, the story that they go with. But it does kind of feel that Cody is a bit like waiting. Cody's kind of biding his time. Because it does feel like, certainly, doesn't it, that the story for him is a rematch against Roman Reigns next year at WrestleMania 40 in Philadelphia. And if he doesn't win that, then he's never going to win the WWE Championship, isn't it? This Stephen here, this comment is exactly why I wanted to do this tonight as well. For people that have got memories of or interactions of Bray Wyatt or Terry Funk for that matter, get them in the chat. Stephen says, was a lucky boy to meet Bray a few times. I truly loved him as an entertainer and what a guy to match. And in some of the videos that we've been doing the last 24 hours, I've seen quite a few of those in the comments as well, saying that they'd had interactions with Bray Wyatt, or they'd met him at fan events, or they'd just seen him out and about in Florida where he lived. and that unanimously every single person says that the interaction was fantastic. Grayson Waller lifts Rey Mysterio over the top rope, shoulder to the gut by Rey. He's going to go for a springboard, and a big boot to the face. Of course, Rey Mysterio suffered a minor concussion. That's what Santos Escobar called it in an interview. He said that Rey had suffered a minor concussion in their match a few weeks ago, but clearly he's fine now. And Hurricane Runner on the outside sends Grayson Waller into the barricade. And as we're going to go to commercial once again. Kevin Patrick on commentary, by the way. Let me know your thoughts about Kevin Patrick. Obviously, the announced team in WWE's had a bit of a shake-up recently, of course. Wade Barrett and Michael Cole, they're both doing commentary on Raw. The commentary team for SmackDown is Corey Graves, Kevin Patrick, and Michael Cole doing sort of analysis. I just don't know if I see it in Kevin Patrick, to be honest with you. Even when last year, I didn't understand why they got rid of Jimmy Smith, honestly. I thought he did a fantastic... I mean, I don't really know why they got rid of Tom Phillips in the first place. I mean, it felt like it was a constant downgrade, really. You went Tom Phillips, and then he went to... what was it? Was his name Adnan Virk? The guy, I think he did baseball, and it really didn't work on Raw. He was only there for a few weeks. Then he went to Jimmy Smith, who did, I think, a good job, to be honest. I think Jimmy Smith did a good job, considering he's not a play-by-play guy. He does color commentary for MMA, and I think he actually did fairly well in that. And then, then Kevin Patrick came in, and I just don't think he's got the... I just don't know if he's got the voice for it, honestly. I really don't. And anything's possible. Michael Cole was awful when he started. He wasn't too bad, actually, but he wasn't like he is now. But I'm not sure that Kevin Patrick's got the sort of the tone or the voice or maybe the personality for it. And it's a tough job. It's a really difficult job. But I'm not sure about that. And I know that Endeavor want Michael Cole across both shows. They want him to, be the voice of WWE and the face of WWE. He's on every show. If you watch a WWE show, you hear the voice of Michael Cole. That's what they want. I'm not sure if the Kevin Patrick thing works as well. Dan Mazing says, I think you should incorporate some type of post-pay-per-view call-in show, Owen, KG style. I mean, I would, but by the time those pay-per-views go off the air, Dan Mazing, it's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes even... earlier, depending on how you look at it with that. They are, sometimes those pay-per-views can be pretty rough. I'm glad we're all in this weekend. It's not going to be a super late one. Ed says, Tom Phillips to me was the clear successor to Cole. For the life of me, I don't get why they released him. And as you said, they've not found anyone even close ever since. I do agree. I was a fan of Tom Phillips. I was a fan of Mauro Ranallo. I know that he definitely divides opinion, and people thought he was too over the top, or he was too... shoehorned in the pop culture references and all that, and maybe he did, and maybe he was over the top. But I'm a Mauro fan. Although I think he's doing some like Joshi wrestling or something like that. There's a promotion based out of New York I saw that he's going to be involved in. So that's the latest when it comes to Mauro. I mean, I was really excited when Ronaldo came in to do Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann during the pandemic for Impact. That was a lot of fun. We're back on the air. Rey Mysterio versus Grayson Waller. Of course, Rey Mysterio, the United States champion. I don't think he came out with the US. Oh, that was nasty. That was a bit of a botch there. Did he mean to do that, Grayson Waller? It was in the corner, and it looked like he meant to do a float over, and he just landed on the back of Rey's neck. Let's have another look at this. Irish whip into the corner. Oh, he did mean to do it. It basically looks like he's going to do a float over and just drives his heels into the shoulder blades in the neck of Rey Mysterio. That was rough. Of course, this is a special episode of SmackDown, a celebration of the life of both WWE Hall of Famer Terry Funk and the late WWE superstar Bray Wyatt. Of course, if you haven't seen the news, I don't know where you would have been. It's been everywhere this week. Bray Wyatt tragically and unexpectedly passing away at the age of 36. I've noticed in more of the mainstream news reporting today, like I saw that CNN and Sky News and all that had covered it. They just kind of went with the facts that WWE gave, which they didn't give any cause of death or anything like that. Sean Ross Sapp received information, so he says, from the family. They'd given him the permission to put out there that earlier this year, Bray Wyatt contracted COVID. That's why he disappeared from television. And when he contracted COVID, it exacerbated some heart issues that he had. He was working on recovering from that. He was working on getting better and getting back from that. Hence why that report a couple of weeks ago said that the illness, this mystery illness that Bray Wyatt had, was considered career-threatening and life-threatening. But there was a lot of progress made, and there was a lot of positivity surrounding not only Bray recovering, but returning to the ring as well. There were suggestions that even creative were actively coming up with ideas for him for September, which is just a few days away. And then that made yesterday's news even more sudden. And it's just so horribly, tragically sad. From my recollection as well, I think it's the first passing of an active member of the WWE roster since the mid-2000s. And it's just horrible. It's so horrible. It's so tragic, and I'm still reeling from it. And again, that beginning of the show was a tough watch, a real tough watch, but an important one, because it's important. It's important to grieve, and it's important to celebrate as well. Celebrate the life. Rey Mysterio, Hurricane Rana sends Grayson Waller shoulder first into the ring post. And it also as well, it's tough because I remember when I was a kid and Eddie Guerrero passed away. At the time, I hadn't really, if I can recall, I hadn't really experienced loss or sort of death in my life, and it was horrible. And it still is, and you never get used to it. I think the day you do, then there's probably something going on. But what's important as well is to understand that those feelings are natural, understand that those feelings are part of the grieving process, and also, like I said, celebrate the life, celebrate the achievements, celebrate the feelings that they made you feel. And I think that's a lasting legacy of Bray Wyatt, is that he made you feel. Whether you liked him, whether you didn't like him, whether you thought his stuff was stupid, whether you were captivated by it, whether you thought this is the most creative thing I've ever seen, he made you feel. And he made you look at the television, maybe in horror, maybe in amusement, in confusion sometimes, but he made you feel. He evoked a response. He evoked an emotional response, and that's a credit to him. Beautiful move by Grayson Waller. It's kind of float over and prettier, and Rey Mysterio kicks out. Ed says, I remember I got back into wrestling around WrestleMania in 2014. I have a vivid memories of Bray having a children's choir with the masks on scaring Cena. He captivated me from the get-go. Yes, he had the choir surrounding. He had he obviously lost to Cena at WrestleMania 30, which I thought was a crime. I don't think he should have lost that match. But he did end up getting a win over Cena the next month, Extreme Rules. I believe it was a steel cage match. And he got the victory. And you're referring to the sort of distraction of the kid. What's going on here? Here we go. Rey Mysterio had Grayson Waller set up for a 619. And Austin Theory is on his way out. So I think what we're getting this evening, it's not a wall-to-wall tribute show, I would say, because we're still progressing storylines here. We're still progressing stories. Grayson Waller rolls at Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio kicks out. Hits the ropes. Oh, that was like a double crossbody. They kind of both hit each other. So, but there is a US Championship match next week. And Austin Theory's been attacked behind by Santos Escobar, who I guess is seemingly fine. Oof, he just got shoved into the barricade. Oh, and then a chop block takes out the injured knee of Santos Escobar. Oof. Grayson Waller just threw Rey Mysterio under the rope. Basement dropkick into Austin Theory. Grayson Waller goes under the bottom rope on a clothesline. Going to put Mysterio into the ring. I wonder if he's going to go for a sort of roll-through stunner. Oh, and a big right hand to Santos Escobar as well. Here he goes. He's going to go for it. The jump through. No. Hurricane Rana sends Waller into the middle rope. Maybe we're going to get a 619. We are. 619. Mysterio happens to be on the apron side where all the bad people are. Escobar, big drop kick. Oh, and a float over splash in the middle. This might do it. And there you go. Rey Mysterio gets the win. That was a lot involved. There was a lot involved in that finish, wasn't there? Interference, back and forth. But Rey Mysterio wins. It does feel a bit it's difficult because, and these are what these tribute shows kind of are like historically. Unfortunately, we have had a few of them just, you know, throughout history, whether it's Owen Hart, Eddie Guerrero, etc. It feels strange sometimes to be watching matches and get kind of lost in them for 5-10 seconds and then come back and realize, oh, I've kind of remembered the circumstances here. So Rey Mysterio wins the match against Grayson Waller. Of course, Austin Theory is the #1 contender for the US Championship. So I think the story eventually is at some point Santos Escobar turns on Rey Mysterio, doesn't he? Santos Escobar turns and he's going to win the US Championship. That's clearly, I think, the direction that we're heading in. But it's 1 week from tomorrow as well, US Championship Payback. As I mentioned, it's a busy couple of weeks in the world of pro wrestling. We've got All In, we've got Payback, we've got a lot going on. I think we're meant to have a Bray Wyatt promo package or video package. But that was very, very strange. That was very, very strange. I don't know if that was intended. They finished the match and then it was almost like Bray Wyatt hacked into the show. I don't know if that was a production error or if WWE intended to do that. I mean, if they intended to do that, that's, I mean, classic Bray Wyatt. I mean, you know, classic Bray Wyatt is, you know, hacking into shows, QR codes. I mean, the White Rabbit thing last year, I remember doing so many videos about the White Rabbit stuff because I loved it. I thought the White Rabbit last year and Bray Wyatt's return was so well done. And I'm so glad that he got that moment because the way that he departed WWE did feel weird and it did feel wrong. I mean, what happened was he was involved in this storyline with Randy Orton. And the storyline was that Randy Orton set the Fiend on fire, right? And the Fiend went away. And Alexa Bliss, after months and months, managed to resurrect a charred and burnt up version of the Fiend. And he got resurrected at Fastlane. He came through the ring. We saw a different version of the Fiend. They had like a melted mask and he had burns all over him. And I do believe that there was plans to do more with that version of the character. And then it built up to a match at WrestleMania. And they spent months building this. I mean, the Firefly Inferno match took place in December. WrestleMania 37 took place in April. So they spent 4 months building this up. And again, I think there might have been plans to have that version of the Fiend do other stuff. But coming out of that WrestleMania match, there were plans for Randy Orton to go on to a hiatus. He was going to take some time away from WWE. And for whatever reason, and I don't know if it was related to what would happen later on, Bray Wyatt had to take some time off at the time. So Randy Orton stayed. Randy Orton won the match, which again people were very confused about at the time, that Randy Orton won that match, considering that the whole thing was about the Fiend coming back just to lose and get turned on by Alexa Bliss at the time. It really didn't make a lot of sense. And then the Fiend disappeared. Bray Wyatt was on the next episode of Raw. He did a Firefly Funhouse where he sort of said that, you know, I don't need Alexa Bliss, you know, and these people are crazy and all that kind of stuff. And then we never saw him again. He literally, he was off TV for a while and then he got released and everyone was stunned by it. And it wasn't in the sort of rounds of releases like the other ones was. At that time, there were talks about WWE being sold or Vince McMahon streamlining the company in hope for a sale. And so they were doing these big rounds of releases every 2 or 3 weeks. People out of nowhere. I mean, you had people like Aleister Black literally main evented an episode of SmackDown, and it was the closing moment on SmackDown, and then 2 weeks later was released. It was bizarre. But Bray Wyatt wasn't really involved in that. Bray Wyatt was like singular. It was just announced one day that he had been released, and everyone was so confused by it. And then with all that happened with Vince McMahon last year and Triple H taking over creative and Vince McMahon retiring, it felt like this was the perfect opportunity for Bray Wyatt to come back, because there was some disconnect, or there was some heat, some friction between he and Vince McMahon. And with Vince no longer being in the picture and Triple H having worked with Bray Wyatt extensively in NXT and really helping create and develop the Bray Wyatt character, it felt the only natural that he would come back. And when the White Rabbit stuff started, I mean, it was so smart because it wasn't heavy-handed, and that's what I loved about it. It started off just simply with, and this was all it started is simply with some songs started playing. Jefferson Airplane, White Rabbit would play during commercials for TV, Raw, SmackDown, and then live events. And people on social media just started going, "What is that? What is going on with that?" And it built, and it built, and it built. Then it turned into a QR code appeared on the screen, or there was this thing here, and if you scan the QR code, you got taken to this thing, or people were looking at coordinates, or they were doing all this kind of stuff, and it built to that return at Extreme Rules, and the crowd goes crazy. It was just so well done, so well done, and I loved the Easter egg hunt of it. I loved trying to find the details, and I loved trying to put the pieces together, whether call this number and you get this voice mail, or go to this website and work this out. It was just incredible. As we're just seeing some more tributes to Bray Wyatt from the likes of Braun Strowman, Big E, posting on social media. Rhea Ripley, of course, we do know that Braun Strowman is there tonight, as is Eric Rowan. The Miz, who Bray Wyatt feuded with actually in December of 2019. Kevin Owens also paying tribute, as well as Bayley. I just can't believe he's gone. Occasionally, and The Rock as well. When I'm reading these things and I'm seeing these moments, and I'm just like, he's not with us anymore. It's unbelievable. But SmackDown's in Louisville. Palmerius, once again, prod by Palmerius, has gifted one membership, which has gone to Ed, one of our mods as well. Big up Palmerius, appreciate the support, and big up Ed for being a member. You get your well, we're getting LA Knight versus Finn Balor this evening, which again is a story based around Bray Wyatt, really. LA Knight, Bray Wyatt's of course his final opponent on television, and actually his final opponent just in terms of matches. And Finn Balor, the person that The Fiend debuted against back in 2019 at SummerSlam. And Corey Graves just talking about Windham Rotunda, Bray Wyatt. And he says no one will ever forget that laugh, and he'll be missed. And we're going to go to another match. I think we're going to be going to an Io Sky Zelina Vega match for the Women's Championship, I think, as well. Pecky says, it must be so difficult to put these shows together. Credit to everyone involved in managing to put this on tonight. Some people, again, it's part of the grieving process. Of course, it's completely, voluntary if these people want to perform or if they want to be involved or anything like that. But some people, they're almost of the mindset of they feel the most comfortable being in front of the ring. That gives them the opportunity to block it out and to pay tribute in the way. And I know it's cliche to say they would have want the show to go on, but a lot of people legitimately do. But there's Damage Control backstage. Io Sky, the women's champion. Bayley wearing a Bray Wyatt armband. Of course, Bayley coming through at this Performance Center at the same time as Bray Wyatt. That sort of famous group of people at the Performance Center of 2011, 2012. I mean, people forget this with Bray Wyatt too, is that Bray Wyatt was in WWE. I think he got signed in 2009. I mean, he was part of season 2 of NXT when it was a game show. And who was... let me know in the chat, because I do know the answer. Who was Husky Harris's, Bray Wyatt, NXT Pro? Let me know who it was, because it's interesting, certainly, that he's on the show this evening. Does anyone know the answer? Who Husky Harris's pro was in NXT? Indeed, Praggy De Silva is right. It was Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes was Husky Harris's Bray Wyatt's pro. And that's also sad that story wasn't told. Could you imagine that story? Had they been able to tell it? Possibly over a world championship. Cody Rhodes finishes the story. but it's his protege from all of those years ago that comes back and feuds with him. Those stories kind of write itself, doesn't it? And it's moments like that that we've been robbed of. But even that, to me, talking like that feels greedy. Talking like that makes me feel almost gluttonous, to be honest, because it's not about what could have been. The biggest thing to me is that Bray Wyatt's Windham Rotunda's got 4 young children who are going to be growing up without a father, which is just, again, so sad. As here comes Zelina Vega. I mean, it's not even lost to me as well that at the beginning of the LWO theme, you've got the Viva La Raza, and it's Eddie Guerrero's voice along with Chavo Guerrero that plays. But here comes Zelina Vega. Of course, Women's Championship is going to be on the line here. I would be very, very surprised if we got a title change. I don't think that's going to happen. But representing the Latino World Order, which to me is still it's almost staggering, isn't it? That in 2023 the Latino World Order is a thing after being resurrected and not being a thing on television since the 1990s, the late 1990s. But Women's Championship's on the line. Obviously, it's the first opportunity at a title for Zelina Vega since she challenged Rhea Ripley for the then SmackDown Women's Championship at Backlash in Puerto Rico. That was back in May. It was actually a pretty strongly contested match, wasn't it? And the crowd, not surprisingly, were very much behind Zelina Vega, the hometown crowd. We've still got 110 people watching. The likes are currently at 86. 87 now. So that means we're only 13 away from 100. So if you haven't already, click the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner as well, if you haven't already. Appreciate everyone that's tuned in this evening. If you're watching after the fact, of course, you can get your thoughts about Bray Wyatt in. We are going to be doing a post show. It's not going to be the usual length of a post show or anything like that. It'll be very much a short post show afterwards, just kind of reflecting on everything that happened, all that kind of stuff. So we'll be live afterwards for a short period of time. Whilst we're in commercial, I'll play another video here. So we played videos from Seth Rollins, from Alexa Bliss, from Chris Jericho, Matt Hardy, former tag team partner of Bray Wyatt as well, former Raw Tag Team Champion partner with him, and a rival. They had the Final Deletion, whatever it was called. Or was it the Ultimate Deletion? I forget which one it was called at this point. There have been so many versions of it. At the Hardy compound, Matt Hardy shared a story about Bray Wyatt.
Hope you guys are doing okay out there today. I'm still sitting here, still in shock. It still doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real that Windham Rotunda is no longer with us. It's devastating. He's someone that I worked with very closely, and we became really, really close friends during that time. And I just wanted to give you guys an example of the kind of big heart he was, the kind of human being he was. My wife posted a video earlier. She was devastated by it too. She really liked him a lot, and he was so nice to Maxwell, our oldest son. Whenever we had the Ultimate Deletion here at our compound, Bray played with Maxwell earlier in the day. He hung out with him, and at the end of the night, he left his lantern that he used in the Ultimate Deletion for Maxwell as a gift, which Maxwell really loved, and you'll see it in the video that my wife shared. And then we did a live event where Maxwell actually got in the ring with us at the end of the match after we won, and Bray gave him some gloves that he was wearing, and Maxwell did a little vlog about him. He was Maxwell's favorite wrestler for a period of time, which is so cool. And Maxwell was blown away yesterday when he heard that news too. It didn't seem real to him. It still doesn't seem real to me, and really hasn't sank in that he is passed. It's inconceivable. He was 36 years old. Inconceivable. I just want to say my biggest condolences go out to his dad, especially a guy who I respect. Has been very good to me in the industry. His immediate family, obviously his brother, his sister, and his kids, and also JoJo. Just my heart breaks for all those people, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And I want you guys to watch this video. Just slide over to the next video, and you'll see the video that my wife put together when Maxwell was doing a vlog, when he was doing King Maxwell, and talking about how Bray Wyatt was his favorite wrestler and the gifts that he gave Maxwell. So hope everyone's doing okay, and keep your chins up and keep moving forward, guys. That's all we can do.
Now, what you can't see on there is the video he's referring to. It's actually really, really sweet and once again, very, very sad. It's his son, Maxwell, basically doing his own version of the Firefly Funhouse. You know, he's got the Bray Wyatt gifts, as he mentioned. He's got some gloves that Bray Wyatt had given him. He's got a lantern that Bray Wyatt had gifted him as well. And again, it just goes to show the man that Bray Wyatt was. You know, and I know this happens in passing and all this kind of stuff, but you don't hear a bad word. You really don't. And we're just seeing a moment here. We're back from commercial. We're just seeing a moment of The Fiend's debut at SummerSlam 2019, Toronto, Ontario, Canada. His opponent, none other than Finn Balor, who will be in the main event against LA Knight this evening. And the entrance alone was incredible. The entrance, if you haven't watched his entrance at SummerSlam in 2019, I recommend you do so, because it was an entrance that after it was complete, literally everyone goes silent. Everyone goes silent because they literally just go, what did we just watch? That was incredible. I can't believe what we just saw, you know. And again, that goes to that goes to show just how incredible he was. Absolutely incredible. But the match is underway here. The match is underway. Obviously, a women's championship, as I mentioned, on the line. It's Io Sky. I believe this is her first defense as well. Her first defense of the championship. And as I said, it's not a total tribute show. It's kind of like a hybrid. They're still pursuing storylines. They're still doing storylines throughout the show this evening. So they are kind of still doing that. So it's not sort of wall-to-wall tributes, which maybe isn't the worst thing in the world, honestly, as well. I see what people are saying in the chat as well. Prageev says, man, if that's true, there was so much we could have had, but I'm glad I will remember many of his moments in WWE forever. Bryan versus Bray at Royal Rumble 2014 is one of my favorite matches still to date. It probably maybe is Bray Wyatt's best match of his career. Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt, Royal Rumble 2014. And the moment leading up to it, of course, one of the greatest moments in Monday Night Raw history of Daniel Bryan joining the Wyatt family and then shedding the skin, as it were, inside the steel cage and having the entire arena in unison chant yes, slowly, methodically, as Danielson attacked Wyatt. It was a story that kind of took place over, you know, a few short weeks, but it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And again, it's moments like that. That's what Bray Wyatt was really all about, is creating those moments that you just went, you didn't understand what was going on throughout a lot of it, and then when they got to a specific moment, you went, I get it. I get what you were trying to do. I get what you were trying to portray. And as I mentioned, it's just incredibly sad. As Zelina Vega was just thrown off the top rope by Io Sky there. There is a women's championship match ongoing at the moment. And Io's got a reverse chin lock in on Zelina Vega at the moment. Elbows to the gut. Of course, it is worth pointing out as well, it's a sort of a joint tribute show. Not only celebrating the life of Bray Wyatt, but also celebrating the life of the late WWE Hall of Famer Terry Funk as well, who sadly passed away 24 hours prior to Bray Wyatt at the age of 79. As Vega floats over the top against Io Sky, backs up into the corner. Zelina, oh damn. Moves out the way as Io Sky dives towards her, knee to the face, and then throws Io right to the top turnbuckle, bounces her head off that top turnbuckle, ducks under the clothesline, hits the ropes, and another clothesline by Zelina Vega. Zelina Vega also, she posted a tribute to Bray Wyatt on her social media this week, telling her a really actual heartwarming story about Bray Wyatt, cheering her on essentially when she was an extra. She was an extra working for, or trying to really get signed by WWE, and she's working out in the ring, and Bray Wyatt starts a Zelina Vega chant, or Meteora, and Io Sky kicks out. and starts cheering Zelina Vega, whatever her name was at the time, and or might have been Thea, Thea Trinidad. And by all accounts, Bray Wyatt went up to some senior people that were also ringside, some agents, some executives that were, or some people that would have the ability. Oh my goodness me! Dropkick by Io Sky, and he went up to him and said, "Well, we need to sign her. We need to get her involved." So he was a big proponent of signing Zelina Vega, was Bray Wyatt, according to the story that Zelina Vega shared this week anyway as well. That dropkick was unbelievable by Io Sky. Oh, but wow! Io Sky just got absolutely spiked on her head. I think she was going for like a body slam. It got turned into a tornado DDT. That was heck of a counter. Oh, code red. No. Floats over. Io picks her up. I think that might have been a bit of a botch. But it's going to go for a power bomb. Oh, and a power bomb. But Io Sky now drops down to her feet. She can't really capitalize. Both are down in the ring. Let's have another look at this. No, it was just a power bomb. It was a power bomb, but Io Sky kind of recoiled back, and now she's down as well. Both are down in the ring. Oh no, she's back to her feet. Pecky says, wonder if there'll be more about Funk later. Well, according to Michael Cole on commentary, Cody Rhodes is going to do a big thing for... Code red! That was it. And then Io rolls out of the ring. Very smart. Cody Rhodes is going to do a Terry Funk tribute later on this evening, which is appropriate considering, of course, the relationship between Terry Funk and Dusty Rhodes, and really just the Funks and the Rhodes in general, right? Across the NWAs and the Crockett Territories and the Carolinas. That's pro wrestling history, and that's what really Cody Rhodes represents, isn't he? Cody Rhodes is the crown prince of what's left of the NWA and the Crockett Territory and WCW and Turner. That's his bloodline. That's his lineage, really, isn't it? So it's appropriate that he would do the tribute to Terry Funk later on this evening, which indeed he is going to be doing. Io Sky, beautiful moonsault, one of the best in the world. 2, 3, and Zelina Vega retains the Women's Championship, as one would expect. I don't think anyone was expecting anything less. We're 1 like away from 100, by the way, so if you haven't already, click the like button, and be sure to subscribe to bottom right-hand corner. Io Sky successfully defends her Women's Championship for the first time in WWE. It was a fun match, certainly. But look at this moonsault by Io Sky, excuse me. Absolutely incredible. And Damage Control celebrates as Io Sky holds on to her Women's Championship. And there's Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes. I did mention he's up next. He's here to pay tribute to the Funker. And we go to commercial. Oh, my goodness me. It's a difficult one at the moment, certainly. We did hit 100 likes, by the way, guys. I really appreciate that. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in so far this evening. I don't know how many subscribers. I'm not even going to look. It doesn't matter. They're hyping the Trish Stratus, Becky Lynch confrontation this Monday. Of course, they're going to have a... is it steel cage match at Payback? Oh, that feud, honestly... What a strange way that's been booked in reality. Trish comes back. The whole thing, when you think of the timeline of all of that, is very, very confusing, because it was a situation whereby we knew for a few weeks Trish was going to come back. Lita came back first, and then Trish's return got kind of stopped and started like 2 or 3 times. Eventually, she did come back. But she wasn't involved in the tag team title picture, which was weird. And then eventually they do the angle where Trish turns on Becky, and it was like, okay. But everything they've kind of done has left a bit to be desired, really. And they didn't have the match at SummerSlam, which clearly they were really upset about and annoyed about, and I don't blame them, because that's what I guess they thought Trish was coming back for, and they built up to it. But then when they did have the match eventually on Raw in Canada, it left a lot to be desired, really, didn't it? And I don't know if the steel cage match at Payback is going to be all that much different. I wonder if it's one of those storylines where you go, you know what, some people just have the chemistry, some people don't, and it kind of does feel like that a little bit with Trish and Becky. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but it does kind of feel like that a little bit, doesn't it? Again, if you are just joining us, there was a 10-bell salute to start the show, as tributes were paid to the late Bray Wyatt, obviously, as well as Terry Funk. A video package was played and all that. So yeah, it's still, to me, it feels, like I said, strange to be talking about Bray Wyatt, honestly, in the past tense, but indeed that's what we are. There was a video package, as I mentioned, a 10-bell salute, in addition to the rocking chair, the famous Wyatt rocking chair, having the spotlight go out on it, and horrifically sad, absolutely horrifically sad. As we're just seeing an advert for Payback once again. Fat Thor says, in all honesty, the storyline for the women's division could be better, especially the tags division. A lot of that, that's been a big complaint under the Triple H regime, isn't it? It's about the booking of the women's divisions. Certainly not up to par. But we're just about to come back from commercial. As I mentioned, Cody Rhodes is expected. He's going to pay tribute to the late WWE Hall of Famer Terry Funk, as we get more Bray Wyatt tributes on the screen. This time from Cody Rhodes, Baron Corbin, WWE Hall of Famer Ric Flair, also paying tribute. Becky Lynch, she posted a lengthy tribute on her Instagram. Even from celebrities as well. This was something that was taken to social media. Vanessa Hudgens was saying she was devastated. Hall of Famer Kane as well, who Wyatt made his debut against on the main roster. Alexa Bliss as well. We posted the video from her. She's not at SmackDown this evening. She couldn't make it due to the last minute nature of flights and things like that. She's still on maternity leave, of course, as well. But here comes Cody Rhodes, who, as I mentioned, is going to be paying tribute to WWE Hall of Famer Terry Funk, who wasn't scheduled for SmackDown this evening, actually. He was scheduled for an appearance somewhere else. And he posted earlier today to those people who said, sorry guys, I can't make it. He's going to be doing his appearance tomorrow instead, which was really an indication that Cody was going to be at SmackDown tonight and not anywhere else. Of course, it's surprising because Rhodes generally doesn't really do SmackDown shows. He might do a dark match and stuff like that, but very rarely. I was going to get the big woe. And a lot of pyro as well. As I mentioned earlier on, someone that's got ties to both the people we're celebrating today. Not only Terry Funk, of course, with the Rhodes and Funk relationship, but also he was the pro for Husky Harris in NXT Season 2. That's back when he was dashing Cody Rhodes. The dashing one. That was after he'd been with the Legacy. So, certainly only appropriate that the American Nightmare is with us on SmackDown. But Terry Funk, as I mentioned, had a ton of rivalries with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, as well as plenty of the NWA greats: Jerry Lawler, Harley Race, Jack Briscoe, you name it. I mean, Terry Funk, yeah, Corey Graves mentions it, probably had the best-selling Dusty Rhodes t-shirt in history, which is the Dusty Sucks Eggs shirt, which is a tremendous shirt. Back when they didn't really do that kind of stuff, and he had the thing on the shirt. plain print him. As Cody stands in the ring, the crowd in Lexington cheer the American Nightmare. But I'm glad that WWE are doing this as well, because it's important to pay tribute to both, because they both deserve it. They both deserve it. They both deserve the spotlight. They both deserve the. They both deserve the celebratory words. As Cody Rhodes is about to ask the crowd, "What do you want to talk about?" He says he knows what he wants to talk about. He wants to talk about Terry Funk. He talks about traveling with his father when he was 11. And he talks about someone yelling a peculiar insult, calling his father and calling Dusty an egg-sucking dog. Dusty sucks eggs. What I said. I said that was the shirt. That was Terry Funk. As he said, it was the proprietor of the Double Cross Ranch, none other than Terry Funk, as they put the Terry Funk graphic up on the screen. As I mentioned, he was 79 years of age. In recent years, he had been suffering from a considerable amount of health issues. He had dementia. He was living in an assisted living facility. I think one of the last things he did, involved in wrestling anyway, he was involved in an episode of Dark Side of the Ring. I believe it was the FMW episode, when he was talking about Onita and things like that. There's a footage that Dark Side did release earlier this week of Mick Foley going to visit Terry Funk. It's really, really heartwarming, actually. I would recommend people to go and take a look at it. It's again, it's well worth a watch. Absolutely. Cody's talking about how Terry Funk was a cowboy. He says Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt were cowboys in the best of ways. Cody says he has the privilege to talk about Terry Funk. Of course, second generation star, Dory Funk Sr., his father, ran the Amarillo, Texas region. I was watching that the other day, Back to the Territories on Kayfabe Commentary's YouTube page. They've released that for free with Jim Cornette and Terry Funk talking about the Amarillo territory. Again, run by his father, Dory Funk Sr. Terry and his brother, Dory Funk Jr., teaming together. I think they were Georgia Heavyweight Tag Team Champions in the NWA. And the thing is with Terry Funk as well, and this is what's so unique about him, is that Terry Funk, depending on who you talk to, is different. Because some people think of Terry Funk from the 1970s. Some people think of Terry Funk from the 80s. Some people think of Terry Funk, as I mentioned, from the early 1990s, which is the feud against Flair in WCW. But some people think of Terry Funk from the late 1990s, from being in ECW, or from being Chainsaw Charlie in the dumpster match at WrestleMania 14. As we're just about to watch a promo package on the late Terry Funk. So I'm just going to mute this so we can hear what this promo package is saying. I mean, as he says, a proper cowboy. He his partner passed away in I believe it was 2019. Vicky. And again, he and his brother tag team, Dory Funk Jr. I mean, I love that footage. They both wrestled at WrestleMania 2 as well. Terry and Hoss Funk. Hoss Funk. And again, the feud between Funk and Flair in 1989. The I Quit match in WCW. It's just incredible. Terry Funk, as I mentioned, also NWA World Heavyweight Champion 1974. And again, that version of Terry Funk is different than the other version of Terry Funk as well, which was, you know, Terry Funk in Japan is different. Nobody's tougher than Terry Funk in Japan. Turned it into like sort of the hardcore style, the violent style, ultra violent. I mean, even when he was in WCW in like as the commissioner, he was like 60 at that point. It's incredible. Like I saw someone point this out on social media this week, and it's so true about Terry Funk. Terry Funk incorporated or added a moonsault, a moonsault into his arsenal at age 50. He wasn't doing that before, and then suddenly he was just like, "I'm gonna do a moonsault," which is just so. That's why I loved watching Terry Funk in the late '90s, because he was nuts, absolutely incredible. Springboard moonsaults and all this kind of stuff, unbelievable. As I mentioned, inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2009. He was inducted with his brother, as I mentioned, Dory Funk Jr. I mean, his work in ECW is legendary as well. For me, he legitimized ECW. You know, ECW was the renegade company doing the cool stuff, the grunge stuff. But Terry Funk was the legitimacy of that promotion. You had ECW originals like, you know, Sandman, Tommy Dreamer, Van Dam, Taz, all that kind of stuff. But for me, it was Terry Funk's involvement that really legitimized it. You know, of going, no, this guy's a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, and he says that this company's legit. Well, then it is definitely legit. And again, that's a credit to Terry Funk. As the WWE universe there applauds the late Hall of Famer, and Cody Rhodes is in the ring with a microphone in his hand. It says, from Texas to Tokyo, Terry Funk was passionate. He was everything. And for me, like I said, he's one of the best ever. The next tag team match. The next match is a Terry Funk hardcore match. There you go. And we're going to get the Brawling Brutes. So, Terry Funk hardcore match. I'd love that if that's just what they referred to it as moving forward. These are no longer hardcore matches, they're Terry Funk hardcore matches. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? I don't know if they would do that. But it's the Brawling Brutes, Butch and Ridge Holland. I don't know who their opponents are going to be. But Butch and Ridge Holland are going to be competing in this Terry Funk hardcore match. They're well suited for it, certainly, aren't they? Oh, they're facing off against the Street Profits. The new version of the Street Profits. I hope eventually we get new entrance music for the Street Profits. I've enjoyed the redevelopment of them. I've enjoyed the changing of their attitude, but I still do want to see some more changes involved in the Street Profits, to be honest with you. I want to, like I said, I want to see some more changes, and I think we will. I think we will get those changes, because they can't be They can't be the same version of the Street Profits from before, can they? You know what I mean? They've got to be the different version. They've got to be an enhanced version. They've got to be all that kind of stuff. So I think eventually we will get to that point with the Street Profits. I mean, how many times have we had drafts and things like that where there's been talks about, the Street Profits, are they going to split up? Or what's happening with the Street Profits? Are they going to stick together? What's going on there? But it looks like they're going to be... certainly they want to be sort of New Day-esque, don't they? They want to be, they want to be like the New Day and basically just never split up throughout their career. Whether or not that's going to be the case, I don't know. Fat Thor says a Funk Core match. That would be fun, wouldn't it? A Funk Core match would be a lot of fun. I think we're just in commercial again. Once again, I'm not sure how long this commercial break is. It might be a short one. It might not. I think it's going to be a long one. So if you haven't seen it already, we can play the Seth Rollins video once again. Of course, Seth Rollins not at SmackDown this evening. He was thinking about going. He decided not to go. He decided to be with his family, recalling a conversation he had with Bray Wyatt when Brody Lee passed away in 2020. Here's what Seth Rollins had to say, along with paying tribute to the late Bray Wyatt.
Truth is, I still don't really know what to say. Windham was a unique cat. He was simple yet deeply complex individual, and I loved him. I loved working with him, but mostly I just loved being around him. He was always joyful. Just these eyes that drew you in, and a smile and a laugh and a presence that just made you happy. And we're all going to miss that. I've been thinking mostly about his family. His kids. And I wanted to go, I don't know, wanted was the right word. I thought about going to SmackDown tonight, but that would entail leaving my family a day early. And I just keep going back to the conversation I had with Windham on the phone when Brody passed a few years ago. And I just had called him to check on him, to see how he was doing, and he, we talked, and he was okay and I was okay, and neither of us were really okay. But I just remember him, we ended the conversation with I love yous and goodbyes, and he said, I remember this very specifically, he said, you just go hug on that baby girl. Talking about my daughter. And so I just feel like that's what I should be doing. So, Windham, love you, man. I will miss you. We will all miss you. And I'll see you down the road, hot boy.
So we're nearly underway in this tag team match here, and this was kind of what I was talking about with the Street Profits at the moment, which is a bit frustrating me a little bit. You've got commentary saying, oh, the Street Profits, they've got a new look and a new persona and all this kind of stuff, but they come out to the same music. They've still got the red cups, and they're kind of doing the same thing. They got new gear, and they're dapper, according to those on commentary, but you need a bit more progression. I know it doesn't happen overnight or anything like that, but I think look to Bray Wyatt, right? Innovation. Do stuff that's different. Do stuff that's unique. Try and change things. As Butch is trying to rip off the ear of Montez Ford, which is again is pretty violent, pretty rough. But I guess that's what Pete Dunne is. I guess. The crowd is saying we want table. Well, look, if it was really a Terry Funk hardcore match, we would have the whirly bird ladder. I mean, that's the Terry Funk spot, isn't it? We'd have barbed wire. We'd have thumbtacks. Butch, leap over, drop down. Gonna go for a big drop kick right to the kisser of Montez Ford, and another one to Angelo Dawkins. And he's going to go for spinning toe hold. Yeah, look at that. Spinning toe hold. Finisher of Terry Funk. A bit annoyed nobody picked that one up on commentary. It's the finishing hold of Terry Funk. Look at this by Ridge Holland. Oh, DDT by Ridge Holland. Just dropped Montez Ford in his head. Oh, nice spinning net breaker by Angelo Dawkins. And a big splash by Montez Ford. And Ridge Holland kicks out. I wonder if we are going to get any plunder involved in this. Are we going to get any weaponry? I mean, for a Terry Funk hardcore match, you would think that's what they would. That's what they would do, no? Oh, look at the chops. Oh, big right hand. Big right hand by Angelo Dawkins. Oh, what a flapjack. Montez Ford just with a bunch of crotch chops. And now they're trying to attack Butch. Oof, and a big boot to the face. Now Butch is going to go to the top rope. He's going to go maybe for a moonsault. Beautiful moonsault. Lands on his feet pretty much as well. Pete Dunne's just an incredible athlete, isn't he? He really is. Now he's up on the shoulders of Ridge. Here we go. We're going to get the Terry Funk special. The Whirly Bird. There you go. It's working. It must be said, the crowd's pretty flat. The crowd's very quiet. Maybe they're a bit confused as to what's going on. Whoa! Look at that. Just tackled Angelo Dawkins on the outside. There's one thing the crowd want. They want tables. I mean, if they were promised a hardcore match, you would think they would get some kind of weaponry. We haven't got anything thus far just yet. Butch lands on his feet on the outside. Montez Ford looks like he's going to go for a... Oh, my God. Montez Ford, he's just ridiculous in terms of an athlete. Uh-oh, here comes Bobby Lashley. The Almighty is about to arrive. Remember, this is a hardcore match. Anything goes. No disqualifications. Here comes Bobby Lashley, the mentor to the Street Profits. When was the last time we saw him wrestle? Was it in the World Heavyweight Championship tournament? I suppose something I'm a bit confused about as well with the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. Are they heels? I don't think they are heels because, well, certainly the way the Street Profits are acting, the way Bobby Lashley was acting when he came out was not very heelish, certainly. So I mean, again, I'm not really sure what that is. But we're in commercial break at the moment once again. I'm assuming the main event of tonight's show is going to be the LA Knight versus Finn Balor match. That looks like is what is going to be the case. Which again is two people that have really strong connections to Bray Wyatt's career. In terms of LA Knight, of course, being the final opponent for Bray Wyatt. Finn Balor being the first opponent of The Fiend back at SummerSlam in 2014. Really the first sort of rival of The Fiend as well, once Bray Wyatt had reinvented himself back in 2019. And he was the first person to sort of be changed by Finn Balor too, wasn't it? First person to sort of be, by Bray Wyatt, sorry. Because after The Fiend had attacked him, Finn Balor went away for a while. And then he went to NXT. He went back to NXT. NXT had just launched on USA Network. Balor went back there, but he went back as a heel. He was a babyface, smiling babyface on the main roster. Had a Intercontinental Championship run just before sort of WrestleMania that year. He won the Intercontinental Championship, didn't he, at WrestleMania? Excuse me, against Bobby Lashley of all people. And then he had the match against The Fiend at SummerSlam, disappeared for a while, came back to NXT when NXT was launching on USA Network, so around beginning of October 2019, end of September. And yeah, that was the interaction with The Fiend. And then there was this story, wasn't there, of every person that The Fiend had come into contact with, they changed somehow, some way. Whether it was Finn Balor becoming a bad guy, whether it was Seth Rollins, who was the babyface Universal Champion, and then because of the interaction he had with The Fiend, he became the Monday Night Messiah because The Fiend changed him. Then it was the case of Bryan Danielson, Daniel Bryan. He changed in that Bray Wyatt pulled his hair out and Bryan Danielson had to shave his head. The Miz was another one who after his feud with The Fiend, I believe, turned heel. He was a babyface at the time, I think. So you had this thing where every single person The Fiend got into changed, and they became different. I tell you what, a funny story with Bray Wyatt as well, and I to this day have no idea if this was ever seen by Bray Wyatt or seen by WWE, and it's one of those stories that you probably won't believe when I tell it, but I swear on everything that this is a true story. So when I first started getting into sort of content creation, and I hadn't even done YouTube stuff yet, I just had like a Twitter account, and I had Photoshop, and I would just, you make graphics out of fun. And when The Fiend had debuted, he'd attacked Kane, Mick Foley, and I think Kurt Angle. He'd attacked those people, and I did a graphic of the Firefly Funhouse, because the Firefly Funhouse had existed at that point. He'd started doing the pre-tapes, and I made up a graphic that had the pictures of his victims up on the wall. And then a couple weeks later, I swear to God, I was watching Raw, and they do an episode of the Firefly Funhouse, and the pictures were up on the wall, and I couldn't believe it. And again, to this day, it most likely is probably just a coincidence. They thought, we could put the pictures up on the wall. But to this day, I remember thinking at the time, I cannot believe it. I can't. And I don't know if that was just coincidence. I don't know if they saw that, because sometimes, people see your work on social media and that. But I remember being floored by that, And yeah, it was 6 degrees of separation, whatever they call it. But that is a genuinely true story. Genuinely true. Which is pretty cool. Even if it is a coincidence, it was quite surreal, As Angelo Dawkins has Ridge Holland up in the corner. Check a look at this. Montez Ford once again towers. Oh my word! Avalanche blockbuster off the top rope. Incroyable. 2. And Butch. Was that 3? I tell you what, that was close. Take a look at that. Look at the height that Montez Ford gets. Incredible. Absolutely, oh gosh. Absolutely incredible. get ready for this. Super kick by Montez Ford. Now, everyone's down at this point. I mean, once again, they've called this a Terry Funk hardcore match, and there's not a lot of hardcore elements really involved. Still. I mean, have we got any weaponry or anything like that? I don't think we have, but no, I guess you don't need weapons to be hardcore, I guess, even though you kind of do. Ridge Holland is going to go to the top rope. Bobby Lashley, of course, is at ringside. Oh, Ridge Holland is struggling to maintain balance. Hits a superplex on Angelo Dawkins. Oh, frog splash from the heavens by Montez Ford. Oh, it's broken up by Butch. A lot of near falls in this one, certainly. Fast-paced action. Bodies everywhere. I tell you what, Montez Ford's frog splash, it's ginormous, isn't it? Are we going to get some weapons, finally? A table! A table, it's what they want. Uh-oh. Bobby Lashley, he doesn't look happy about it. But a table's being brought out. I mean, he accidentally touched Bobby Lashley, I think. Corey Graves saying, I believe it's happenstance. Going to put a table in the ring. Ridge Holland is trying to set it up. Butch is still looking at Lashley on the outside. Oof. Montez with a right hand to Butch. Butch goes down. Now maybe it's going to be Montez who's going to try and set up this table. There you go. Table set up in the ring. Uh-oh. He's going to go for a rock bottom maybe. Oof. Elbows by Ridge Holland. He's not going to allow this to happen. Uh-oh. Kick to go. No way. Oh, what's that? DDT into a kind of Death Valley driver combination by Ridge Holland. That was interesting. Uh-oh. Joint manipulation. Oh, snapping the fingers. Uh-oh. Angelo Dawkins is going on that table. Oh, and Lashley pushes Butch off the top. Uh-oh, spear! He just literally speared him in half. Hardcore match, of course, anything goes. Pushed him off the ropes. Oh, through the table. Revelation 3. I like that finish. The new tag team move is called the Revelation. I don't even really know how to effectively describe it. It's kind of like a spinning powerbomb into a neck breaker kind of move. But I still say there still needs to be things to be tweaked about the Street Profits in this. I think they need to tweak the entrance music. Get rid of anything that people associate you with your old character, your old gimmick. I think is what they need to do. With a 1, 2, 3. As the crowd are happy with the Street Profits victory. Like I said, my hope is that it's not just a case of just Bobby Lashley was like, oh, Firefly Funhouse. As we're seeing episodes of the Firefly Funhouse. Man. I kind of forget. I keep sort of forgetting this is what we're here for. There he is, LA Knight. The Mega Knight, the Mega Knight, the Mega Star himself.
Yeah. With everybody saying, yeah.
John Cena's coming back, of course, on SmackDown next week as well. People forget that. Cena's back, and then he's also going to be wrestling in India for a Superstar Spectacle. But Superstar Spectacle is not being televised, which is strange, isn't it? Very, very strange. Let's get some more reaction if you are just joining us. In addition to Seth Rollins, another person that won't be there this evening is Alexa Bliss. because of flights and things of that nature. Here's what Alexa Bliss had to say regarding the late Windham Rotunda.
Hi everyone. Before tonight's episode of SmackDown, I just wanted to come on here and say a few words. I was planning on attending tonight's SmackDown, but unfortunately with the last minute flight options, it wasn't really possible to get me there in time before the show ended. So I wanted to come on here and just talk about Windham a little bit and what tonight means. And first I wanted to say, I'm sending out so much love and thoughts to Windham's entire family. We are all here for you and we are so sorry for your loss. I know tonight's SmackDown is going to be a celebration of Windham and the Bray Wyatt character and everything Windham has done in his life and career in WWE. So I'm going to try to keep this as positive as I can. Windham is an incredible person who we have all loved for years, and he is just so friendly and lights up a room and is so creative. He's a creative genius who brought us all the amazing gift of Bray Wyatt for the last so many years. And I think the character Bray Wyatt that Windham has given us has been incredible and has been so fascinating to see and has brought us all so much joy to watch. And, working with Windham was just it was magic. It was magic because being able to watch him in his creative element and be able to work with him really, expanded my creativity, and being able to just watch him work and work beside him was just truly an honor. And I still say to this day, was the most fun I've ever had in my entire career in WWE. And I am so thankful that he allowed me and trusted me to come in and be a small part of his vision and his creativity. And unfortunately now there is a huge void in our world and in the WWE universe that no one will ever be able to fill, because Windham was so special and everything he brought to us was so special. And I think we should all be so grateful for that. His creative genius of the Wyatt family and the Fiend and the Firefly Funhouse has really opened up all of our minds and opened our eyes to a whole nother world in our industry that none of us could have ever thought imaginable. And I just want to say, Windham, you've brought so much joy to everyone around you and to the millions who've loved watching you week after week and loved watching your journey and just see your creative genius unfold. We will continue to celebrate your life, your legacy, and the amazing human you are. And we will continue to light up the sky with fireflies. And we all love you, Windham.
We're back from commercial. We're just seeing some more tributes paid to Bray Wyatt on social media by the likes of John Cena, Shawn Michaels, and others. And we're just seeing a progressive match flow. This might be... Oh, it's a recap of the LA Knight feud, of course, at the moment. LA Knight's feuding with The Miz. Across both brands, really. Obviously, The Miz is on Raw, so LA Knight's been on Raw, and LA Knight's on SmackDown, so The Miz has been coming to SmackDown as well. And there was a situation on Raw Monday where Akira Tozawa actually pinned The Miz. And it's actually Tozawa's first win. It was Tozawa's first victory in 6 years. And actually, the last time he won a match on Raw, he became a champion. The Cruiserweight champion. I know some people do technically count, don't they? Some people technically count the 24/7 championship victories he had. But I genuinely even forgot that the 24/7 championship was actually a thing. I kind of couldn't believe it, that it was actually a thing. I was like, oh my God. So Miz was embarrassed Then we had the blunt. By the way, the blunt force trauma move is getting more and more impressive, isn't it? He's kind of turning it into sort of an RKO kind of move, sort of like, isn't he? Where you can hit it out of nowhere against anyone. And I wasn't totally sold on LA Knight versus The Miz initially, but I think it's working, isn't it? Absolutely is working. But so I guess they may be teasing that The Miz might get involved in this LA Knight. Oh, this was great. I saw this on social media. The Miz being approached by TMZ Sports. And he was asked about LA Knight. The Miz saying that LA Knight was a fad. He said he's Napster, MySpace, Vanilla Ice. He's not going to make it to WrestleMania in Philly. And here he comes, LA Knight, as always, getting probably the biggest pop of the night. And again, he's got this, and I think a testament to LA Knight as well, of his popularity, is that people were worried about how, you know, the Bray Wyatt character in the Lights Out match at the Royal Rumble would affect LA Knight. And to be honest, the feud elevated him. There's no doubt it elevated him, because LA Knight went toe to toe with Bray Wyatt and he cut some great promos. And in the middle of all of the nonsense and the craziness that was, you know, the Bray Wyatt character, it worked. But LA Knight's about to get on the mic, and he's always gonna have that connection with Bray Wyatt. What's he going to say here? He's got a somber look on his face. He says he'll get to the Miz in a second. He says tonight's about Bray Wyatt. Indeed it is. He said everybody out there was representing the Fireflies. And it got him thinking. He said sometimes your greatest foes can turn out to be your greatest helpers. He said they went through hell, and they did everything they could imaginable to each other. He was getting him ready for anything. And LA Knight's looking right down the camera lens as well. It's powerful stuff. He says his heart breaks for his family. I'm exactly the same. He says you can feel the spirit of Bray Wyatt in this building, particularly when it comes to the Fireflies. And you see the lights. And there they are, look, the Fireflies are out. And the crowd starts chanting, "Thank you, Bray." He says, "Thank you, Bray." Looks direct in the hard camera when saying it. And says, "Let me talk to you." Now he's mocking The Miz once again. He says if I'm just a fad, then I'm okay with that because you never were. No one cared about you. He says even when you had a stunt double, he was the star. NWA reference, Aaron Stevens. Oof. And says even when you main event WrestleMania, you were a background for The Rock and John Cena. It's true as well. I mean, that's as much of a shoot as it's gonna get, honestly. He says, whose game is it? Well,
With everybody saying, yeah.
Indeed, yeah. Oh, and one more thing. It says, Miz, a wise man once told him, next time you see him, run. That's the Bray Wyatt reference. Well, LA Knight versus Finn Balor's coming up next in the main event. Looks like they'll probably get some time, I would probably think. And we're just seeing clips of Bray Wyatt's return last year at Extreme Rules. Man, it was incredible. But yeah, it's a strange one actually at the moment because as I mentioned, when you've got the matches going on and the storylines going on as well, you get distracted, don't you? You get distracted, or your brain goes back into normal wrestling mode. Your brain goes back into normal story mode, and you kind of forget, don't you? You forget where you kind of were. You forget that the sadness of it all, and that's just what that's what it is. Really sad, really sad. It's Pelt says this is needed for the Miz just as much as it is for LA. I think. Well, I would probably agree with that. I think certainly. It feels like a feud, doesn't it? At the moment, it feels like a feud in which maybe it's another. It feels like everything's a test for LA Knight right now, doesn't it? That they're constantly checking out. Is there something here? Because I understand the cautiousness from WWE, or maybe a bit of the trepidation when it comes to WWE with LA Knight, and they're thinking of, is this legitimate, or is this in a couple months' time, is LA Knight still going to be popular, or is LA Knight really going to be, a big thing in a few weeks' time? And the thing is with LA Knight is he continues to get more and more and more popular, doesn't he? And again, that's a testament to him because he is the real deal. Everyone knows he's the real deal. I remember when I first really watched LA Knight was actually in the NWA. I'd seen him a little bit in Impact Wrestling, but I really first properly watched him in the NWA when he was doing those podium promos and Shoes of a Champion, that promo. I remember watching it just thinking, this guy is a star. This guy is an absolute bona fide superstar, and that's exactly what he was. And I was stunned at the time that Vince McMahon hadn't seen something in him. So I'm so glad to see him finally, again, getting this. But it's main event time, as I mentioned. LA Knight versus Finn Balor. It'll be interesting to see who goes out. I mean, it feels like, isn't it, that they're kind of setting this up to possibly have the Miz cost LA Knight. That feels like the direction that they're probably going with this, isn't it? But we'll see what happens with it. They're posting they're hyping the matches. It's late. What's going to be happening next week? John Cena returning next week. One would think to possibly set up his match he's going to be having in India, despite the fact we can't see it. Night before US Championship match as well. It's going to be Rey Mysterio and Santos Escobar versus Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And Jimmy Uso is back next week. Of course, no real bloodline stuff tonight. Which, again, I suppose is par for the course. There's no need for it, is there? But LA Knight's still in the ring. Am I waiting to see the leader of the Judgment Day himself, Finn Balor? Of course, as mentioned, strong ties with Bray Wyatt. It was the Fiend's first opponent back at SummerSlam in 2019. And there he is, the leader of the Judgment Day himself. Doesn't really have any members of the Judgment Day with him. Doesn't look like he will. Well, let's have predictions for this one. Let's get a poll in the chat, actually, as to who we think's going to win this. So, who... Oh, I'm on caps lock. Who do you think leaves victorious? Is it going to be LA Knight? Or is it going to be Finn Balor? Bell rings and we are underway. LA Knight versus Finn Balor. If I was going to vote in it, I'd probably go with Finn Balor. I think probably wins this one. Again, my feeling is that the Miz is going to cost him. I think that's the direction that we're probably going in. It's Pelt says, have you got a favourite Bray Wyatt match, Owen? My favourite Bray Wyatt match would probably be singles. It'd be Bray Wyatt versus Daniel Bryan, Royal Rumble 2014. Sort of other match is the Wyatt family versus the Shield, Elimination Chamber 2014. I think that's the one. I mean, 2 months back to back of probably Bray Wyatt's best matches. You know, singles match versus Daniel Bryan at the Rumble. A month later, or just a few weeks later, Wyatt family versus the Shield it's the best, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It's one of the best six-man tags in WWE history. It's just iconic. But it's been made official. There you go. It's been made official. It's going to be LA Knight versus The Miz at Payback. That's happening. They just announced it on commentary as LA Knight bashes Finn Balor's head off the announce table. And he keeps doing it. And the crowd keep chanting, yeah. And it's like...
Yeah! 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 Yeah!
Like that. Covered by LA Knight, Finn Balor kicks out. Shoulder to the gut in the corner to Finn Balor. Gonna go for an Irish whip to the Irishman. Balor floats over. Oh, big reverse elbow by LA Knight. Goes on the second rope. Ooh, it's a horrible spot, that. He stood on the second rope and Finn Balor pulled LA Knight off the middle rope and his head hits the top rope. And we're seeing Bray Wyatt's return promo last year, which was incredible, really. Yeah, his promo when he returned last year was phenomenal. It really was. It was... You know, I saw Rob Fee, who is director of long-term creative, I think is his title for WWE, and he said that Bray Wyatt wanted to do something different. He wanted to do something unique. He wanted to do something that he'd never done before, basically, in that return promo, and that's exactly what he did. He achieved absolutely that, and it's a promo that actually now has just so much different weight to it, and has so much different sort of meaning to it as well. And as I mentioned, it's incredibly sad. I think this is going to be the last commercial break, so as it's playing, let's get this video from Matt Hardy, and then we'll have the rest of the main event match.
Hope you guys are doing okay out there today. I'm still sitting here, still in shock. Still doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel real that Windham Rotunda is no longer with us. It's devastating. He's someone that I worked with very closely, and we became really, really close friends during that time. And I just wanted to give you guys an example of the kind of big heart he was, the kind of human being he was. My wife posted a video earlier. She was devastated by it too. She really liked him a lot, and he was so nice to Maxwell, our oldest son. Whenever we had the Ultimate Deletion here at our compound, Bray played with Maxwell earlier in the day. He hung out with him, and at the end of the night, he left his lantern that he used in the Ultimate Deletion for Maxwell as a gift, which Maxwell really loved, and you'll see it in the video that my wife shared. And then we did a live event where Maxwell actually got in the ring with us at the end of the match after we won, and Bray gave him some gloves that he was wearing, and Maxwell did a little vlog about him. He was Maxwell's favorite wrestler for a period of time, which is so cool. And Maxwell was blown away yesterday when he heard that news too. It didn't seem real to him. It still doesn't seem real to me, and really hasn't sank in that he is passed. It's inconceivable. He was 36 years old. Inconceivable. I just want to say my biggest condolences go out to his dad, especially a guy who I respect. Has been very good to me in the industry. His immediate family, obviously his brother, his sister, and his kids, and also JoJo. Just my heart breaks for all those people, and I'm so sorry for your loss. And I want you guys to watch this video. Just slide over to the next video, and you'll see the video that my wife put together when Maxwell was doing a vlog, when he was doing King Maxwell, and talking about how Bray Wyatt was his favorite wrestler and the gifts that he gave Maxwell. So, hope everyone's doing okay, and keep your chins up and keep moving forward, guys. That's all we can do.
I wish I could show you that video that Matt Hardy is referencing there in his video message, because it's really adorable. It's of his son Maxwell doing a Firefly Funhouse impression and utilizing those gifts that he mentions in there. He's got the gloves, and he's got the lantern and all that kind of stuff, and it's adorable. But there's music involved in it and all that kind of stuff, so I couldn't use it. But it's still, again, like I said, a loss for words. And I know that's probably quite repetitive. You might say, oh, you keep repeating yourself that you don't know what to say, but I still don't. It really, honestly, still at this point, I don't think it's actually fully sort of set in, really, what happened when it comes to Bray Wyatt. It doesn't feel real. When the show opened tonight, it was, it kind of felt a bit real after that, didn't it? But it's just sad. A neck breaker by LA Knight on Finn Balor. Of course, this is the main event. LA Knight the final person to face Bray Wyatt, of course, on television and in general. The match they had at the Royal Rumble, the Pitch Black match, wasn't actually the final match for Bray Wyatt. The final match was actually on the sort of road to WrestleMania tour. When they're building up to WrestleMania, they've got live events. And I think essentially what they did is they did essentially the same version of the Pitch Black match several times on the road. I think they called it some different things. I think they called it just like Pitch Black, or I think they called it Lights Out Street Fight, or something like that. They called it different sort of stuff, but it was the same essential match. LA Knight goes for a cover, kicks out at 2. You got the 2 off, the flapjack into the boot to the side of the head. And again, I think when we look at the career of LA Knight and the trajectory that he's on, I think he'll always be remembered, won't it, with Bray Wyatt, his influence on that. In that, Bray Wyatt was LA Knight's first main roster feud. And he was really, let's face it, he was the one to establish LA Knight on the main roster. And some people were worried that it was more a feud to re-establish Bray Wyatt. But it kind of worked the other way around, isn't it? Is that people obviously knew what Bray Wyatt was all about, but it did serve as a purpose to establish LA Knight as this sort of credible, not main eventer, but sort of upper mid-card talent at the time, maybe. And I think that's the legacy of Bray Wyatt in the last run, certainly, was the only real feud he had, which was with LA Knight. Goes for the shotgun dropkick in the corner, and LA Knight, big clothesline to Finn Balor. And now he's going to be stomping the mud hole. He's going to walk it dry, shades of Steve Austin. Hits the ropes. Oof. Hip attack in the corner. What's LA Knight going for here? Gets him up on the shoulders. He's going to go for a version of a torture rack, maybe. Shades of Lex Luger. Oh, and a stomp to the chest. And Finn Balor now is going into the corner. Looks like he's sizing up maybe his own version of a shotgun drop kick. He's in the sights. He's going to pull the trigger. Indeed, he does. Oh, sends LA Knight right into the corner. And he's in the drop zone. He's in the bad area of town. Finn Balor's going to the top rope. Coup de grace. Oof. LA Knight rolls out the way. Beautiful tilt-a-wall slam. Power slam by LA Knight. Now he's looking around the ring. And the elbow drop by LA Knight, cover. And kicks out. Referee's got the gloves on. I think someone's got a bloody lip or something like that. Finn Balor's holding his stomach at the ribs. Oh, he's going for blunt force trauma. LA Knight kicks out at 2 with the roll up. Oh, he nearly hit the referee. Oh, eye of the hurricane. That was nice. And now Finn Balor's going to go to the top rope once again. Maybe he's going to go for a coup de grace. Oof. Crotches Finn Balor on the top rope. LA Knight's maybe going to meet Finn Balor on the top. He's not going to try and do the thing he tried with Sheamus, you know, the big jump. Which he botched, and then he had the balls to do it at SummerSlam, and he pulled it off, which I rate. I do rate that significantly. Or elbows to the head by Finn Balor to LA Knight. Oh, he's going to try it. Leap to the top. He doesn't have to worry about it. And into a superplex as well. The athleticism. As Michael it's vintage. Vintage LA Knight. Blunt force trauma. He hits it. 1, 2. He beat him clean. Look at that. That's a heck of a victory for LA Knight.
With everybody saying, yeah.
That might be the biggest win of his career. No joke. I mean, clean, no problem, no interference, no nothing. He just beat him. And LA Knight points up to the sky, points up to Bray Wyatt. And look at this. Just sprung to the top rope, turned it into a superplex. Got ready to hit blunt force trauma. Boom. Did it. And gets the victory. I mean, that's main event stuff right there for LA Knight. Absolutely main event stuff. Incredible. Uh-oh. The lights are going out. This is what happened with the Fiend. What's going to happen here? The lantern's in the ring. There's the image of Bray Wyatt when he used to stand in the ring. The lantern's in the ring. As the crowd chants, "Thank you, Bray." And that's it. The lantern, they ended the show with the Fireflies. They ended the show with Bray Wyatt's lantern in the ring. And I suppose the lantern has gone out for the last time. And incredibly sad. I was going to go live for a post show afterwards. I think what I might do instead is just do a short 10-minute video or something like that. It's probably a bit better. So stay tuned for that. I appreciate everyone that's tuned in this evening, and we'll be back with more very soon. And rest in peace, Bray Wyatt. You'll be forever sorely missed.